Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So gotta give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekah Korash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether they can accept it or not. And the sincere salutation to all the occupant pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the whole elect. And shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning. There are a few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from Jill Messolano Camp coming at you another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another daily edification, Lord willing to be edifying. This is for educational purposes only. This is not for monetary gain. I do not own a copyright to these videos. This is for educational purposes only. Lord's willing. This be edifying. This is part 2. The world is our prison, but Babylon the Great is maximum security. Lord willing, this be edifying.
Long led the world in the number of children sentenced to
Salaki, let me run that back. Make sure I get it from the top.
led the world in the number
You won't catch it.
The U.S. has long led the world in the number of children sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And one state, Pennsylvania, has put more juveniles behind bars for life than anywhere else in the country. Of those people, Joe Ligon has the tragic distinction of being the oldest and longest-serving juvenile lifer in the country. He was recently released from a Pennsylvania prison after 68 years. CBS This Morning Saturday co-host Michelle Miller spoke with Ligon in his first television interview since his release. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Joe Ligon was released from prison back in February after a series of U.S. Supreme Court decisions found that those mandatory life without parole sentences for juveniles were unconstitutional. This highlights the issues of over-sentencing in America's criminal justice system. And for Ligon, now a free man, he's entering a world, a modern world, he barely knows. What was the first thing you did as a free man?
I almost cried, okay, but I broke down with a big smile on my face. A free man, free at last.
83-year-old Joe Ligon was released from prison last month after serving nearly 7 decades for crimes he committed when he was 15. Ligon, the son of Alabama sharecroppers, was incarcerated when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president.
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
And Nat King Cole's Pretend was on the music charts.
Yeah, those buses there, they didn't exist when I was going to have streetcar
lines, yeah.
Yeah.
He returns to a changed world.
I looked at when I seen all these high buildings, but I expect to see that. They locked me up. They did. They didn't lock my mind up.
In 1953, Ligon and 4 other black teenagers were involved in an alcohol-fueled spree of robberies and stabbings in Philadelphia. 2 people died. What were you guilty of?
I was guilty of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. It wasn't with the intention of hurting nobody. I didn't murder anybody.
There are people out there who are going to watch, and they're going to say, he stabbed someone. He committed a crime. You say to them what?
I'm sorry that I committed a crime. I'm sorry that someone was murdered. I'm sorry about that.
Ligon concedes he did stab someone that night, but maintains he didn't kill anyone. He says he's a changed man. Did you feel remorse for what you did?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I had to feel remorse.
The teenagers were tried together.
It was a city hall.
When you were tried?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
They pleaded guilty and were convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no chance of ever getting out.
This is the habeas petition I filed.
Public defender Bradley Bridge has represented Ligon for more than 15 years.
I sensed there was an injustice. I felt compelled to do something about it.
So why was Joe convicted?
Joe was convicted largely by guilt by association. There were 4 kids that were tried together, and a lot of the evidence against one child was considered against the other 2 or 3 other children. If this case went forward to trial today, he'd probably be found guilty of a manslaughter charge or maybe a third-degree murder and might do 5 to 10 or 10 to 20.
Ligon's niece, Valerie, came to our interview because she wants to show the world Ligon has a supportive family.
Yeah, she told me. She tell me all the stories.
His fate started to change in 2016 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that all juvenile lifers should have a chance to be resentenced. But after nearly 7 decades behind bars, Ligon refused to be released on parole because he didn't want to be supervised for the rest of his life. So they kept fighting until a federal judge recently vacated his sentence. He was released without parole. You're free outright.
Outright. Thank you, Jesus.
Does Joe's case symbolize what's wrong with the criminal justice system?
First of all, it symbolizes that we really should sentence people individually based on who they are and what it was that they did. So a mandatory sentence doesn't do that. And the second thing is that children are particularly unique in their ability to grow, change, and reform themselves. And therefore, giving an adult sentence to a child is inherently wrong.
The world may have changed. Most of his immediate family is long gone. But Joe Ligon says he's not dwelling on the past.
There's nothing I can do about the past. But the only thing I can say, I just hope I have a better future.
And consider this, it cost the state of Pennsylvania $3 million to incarcerate Joe Ligon for those 68 years, and that's without any medical costs, Gail.
Wow. So here's another one. So lucky for the infomercial.
So here's the thing. When it comes to the other live streaming pieces of software that you're going to use,
on the windows, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Look, on the windows, you ain't seen nothing on no windows but people walking by, not no video. I told you I stand out here for a long time watching this crazy stuff. Wow. All right. My name is Otis Johnson. I went to prison at the age of 25 years old, and when I came out, I was 69 years old. I went to prison or jail for the crime of attempted murder on a police officer and assault on a police officer. Prison affected me a lot, and my reentry was a little bit hard at first because things had changed. I got out of Times Square, and I was looking at the atmosphere, the new things that was happening. I seen that everybody, or majority of the people, was talking to themselves. And then I looked closer, and they seemed to have things in their ears, you know. With them things, with the phone thing, iPhones they called them or something like that. And I thought to my mind, what, everybody that became, CIAs or agents and stuff like that? Because that's the only thing I can think of, somebody walking around with wires in their ears and stuff. And that's what they had when I was out during the 60s and the 70s. And then some people are not even looking where they're going. So I'm trying to figure out how people do that, control themselves to walk and talk on a phone without even looking where they're going and stuff like that. So that was amazing to me.
Yo, so what's the next move? Where do I go? Where do I stay? Where do I work? Where do I rest? Where do I play? It feels as though I've been up in this gridlock for days. Still I'm hoping that this shit stops, but hey, whatever happens.
I remember this when I first got out. I was gonna make a call. Then I seen the $1 thing. It was 25 cents when I got out. I found out when I got on the streets they don't use it. Yes.
It's all changed and I couldn't tell you.
Like I said, I'm used to being by myself. But the majority of the time I like the buses because you see different things, and you also communicate with less people. You know, you bump into people on the train and stuff, because that may be packed. Right? But the bus is not really that packed. Even if it is packed, you know, you still have room enough to, you know, maybe talk to somebody or listen to what's happening with other families on the buses.
Already 20 years old, now that can't be right. Why do I feel like I've already lived half my life?
Being in society is a good feeling, a very good feeling, you know, other than being inside the prison, right? You don't go outside at certain times. So I like being in the sun and also observing people. It's nice, you know, it's nice to be free. I think in 1998 or something like that, I lost contact with my family. Coming out of prison, right, I was mainly alone. Like I said, I had no birth certificate, nothing like that. I had no family, no girlfriends, no sisters, no brothers, you know, no people that I can communicate that I had years ago. It bothers me a lot because I really miss my family, you know, and wow. I remember I had two nieces, and they was twin, right? And every time I come over, they run to me, and one of them used to get behind me and hide, right? And the other one be looking for the other twin, right? And so sometimes I just move to the side so the twin can see the other twin. And she said, "You cross me," you know. So I remember that still. I used to love children, you know, and that's one of the good memories I had. I eat different things now because I'm looking at all this crazy stuff they got, so I try it out. You know, so like the funny dinners, different colored drinks, what you call that? The gator stuff, pink, blue, all these different colors. So I start drinking that once in a while, you know, just because it looks funny. There's so many things that you can eat, so it's a hard choice to pick out really the food that you want. For instance, the peanut butter, it had jelly in it, and I ain't never seen nothing like that before. And definitely wasn't in the prison system, you know. So peanut butter and jelly in the same place, in a jar, and that was strange. Still here. 1960, Skippy still around. When don't have nothing to do, maybe at 6 o'clock at night, you know, I might, since it's nice out, I go out in the park, you know, or I might just meditate. You know, you gotta let things go because
now you see him meditating, and in Joshua 1:8, he's supposed to be meditating on Yahweh Shem Shah.
holding on to anger will only stagnate your growth and development. You know, a lot of people say, well, society owed me because I did all this time, even though I did the crime. I don't think like that. I don't feel that society owed me anything. Everything happens for a reason, I believe. So I let that go and deal with the future instead of dealing with the past. I try not to go backwards. I try to go.
See, he holding his hand, meditating. That's not in the scripture, man. That's not according to Yahweh Shem Shah. So, let me get a couple of these precepts. What you got to understand is, the world is our prison, but Babylon the Great is maximum security, man. The Lord scatters across the four corners of the earth for a punishment, for a judgment. Now I'm going to read this in the curses. It's Deuteronomy 28:68. And it reads, Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord, Yahweh, shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. It said Egypt again. Now our first captivity was in Egypt for 430 years. You can read it in Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. So the Lord said, I'm going to send you in similar captivity as Egypt, right? But this time, it's going to be longer than 430 years. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, which is what? You shall not see the land of Israel no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemy. You shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. Now I'll make a point when it's saying no man shall redeem you, right? There's not going to be a man that's going to redeem us in human flesh, like Moses, like Joshua, right? When you read about the story of Moses, and when you read about Joshua and Caleb, right? It's not going to be a physical man that's going to deliver us out of captivity, man. Because this is what it said in Isaiah 47. And I was meditating on this earlier when it said, no man shall redeem you, and no man shall buy you. What the word buy means to be redeemed. No man shall buy you. Why? When Yahweh shall return, he said he's not coming back as a physical man. He's coming back as an angelic extraterrestrial being. So it's not going to be a physical man in earthly flesh that's going to redeem us, man. This is Isaiah 47:3. It said, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, talking to the heathens. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So it's beautiful because I was meditating on this in Deuteronomy 28:68 when it say, and no man shall buy you. We're not waiting on another Moses to come or Joshua. We're waiting on Yahushua to return in his angelic extraterrestrial body, man, to redeem the elect. You see? So no man shall buy us. We're waiting on Yahushua, who is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, man. This is Jeremiah 30:1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh power of Israel, saying, Write all these words that I have spoken unto thee in the book. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. These are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel, the northern kingdom, and concerning Judah, the southern kingdom. So we waiting on Yahushua in his extraterrestrial angelic body to come and redeem us. No man shall buy us, man, in human flesh, man. We ain't waiting on Moses or Joshua. We waiting on Yahushua, man. But this is our captivity, man. We were scattered through the four corners of the earth for what? For punishment, man. Hellish conditions, which is hell mean punishment, condition, or it's the grave. I'm going to read this again. Isaiah 51:14 brought us out in the first lesson. The captive exile, it said, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose, and that he shall not die in the pit, nor that his bread shall fail. Hey, we praying Yahweh Shema Mashah, don't let us fail. But as the scriptures say, affliction shall not rise a second time, man. Okay? Let's get that. This is Nahum 1:9. And it reads, What do ye imagine against the Lord Yahweh? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. So this is the last run for us, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians being in captivity on the Esau, Edom, and any other heathen nations, man. This is Zechariah chapter 9:11. And it reads, As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit. Out of what pit? First and foremost, Babylon the Great. And then all the other countries around the world, man. These are pits for you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. They are pits, man. Okay, it says, as for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water. Why was there no water? Because in the valley of dry bones, we was dry. There was no truth. But the Lord said what? He raised up the whole house of Israel. What did he tell Ezekiel? All these bones are the whole house of Israel. Some got the breath and the spirit. Some just got the flesh, man. Or some got the flesh and the spirit. Some just got the... You see? The Lord gave his elect the flesh and the breath. That's what I meant to say, Salakia. The Lord gave the elect the flesh and the breath, which is the spirit. And some just got the flesh, man. They just know they're Israelites. And that's it. Verse 12 reads, Zechariah 9:12, turn you to the strongholds, ye prisoners of hope. We are prisoners of hope. Why? Because the world is our captivity, man. But then you got this guy, Captain Tazariak of ISUPK saying he's not oppressed. Well, what world are you living in? Because all 12 tribes of Israel are oppressed, man. Zechariah 9:12 again say, turn you to the strongholds, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, which is memorial monument to Yahweh Shemashah, against thy sons, O Greece, which is the Edomites, and make thee as the sword of a mighty man. This one the Lord is going to give his elect spiritual power, man. But the point is we in captivity, man. This guy said he ain't oppressed. Well, if you ain't oppressed, you must not be an Israelite. And that just straight, that's plain, man. If you are not being oppressed in Babylon the Great, you are not an Israelite. Period. Jeremiah 50:33, thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Well, in Babylon the Great. And all that took them captive, held them fast, they refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Which is who's the inhabitants of Babylon? Esau Edom, man. This is because all of these scriptures, Jake was thrown in prison, man. This is Acts. Let's read this. This is Acts chapter 5. I'm going to start at 17. Then the high priest rose up, and all they that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation, and they laid their hands on the apostles, which was the 12 apostles, and put them into the common prison. You see? This is nothing new, man. It's nothing new. The apostles were thrown in prison, man. Paul was put in prison, man. Yahushua was thrown in jail, man. The world is our captivity, man. But Babylon the Great is our maximum security, man. And if you just can't get it, then you can't get it. Let's listen to this. This is Genesis. Let's listen to what happened with Joseph, man. Just Genesis 39. I'm going to start at 20. It reads, and Joseph, master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hands all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord Yahweh was with him, and that which he did, the Lord Yahweh made it to prosper. So this is in Genesis when Joseph was thrown into prison, man. Okay? Just showing you, man, this was set up because this is not our prosperity, man. We would not be sovereign here, man. We don't have sovereignty, man. As we went into last night, man, right? You got nobody is free, man. You got liberty. You got liberty. A driving license to leave the world with a passport, to leave North America with a passport, driver license, that's liberty, man. But you do not have sovereignty. Nobody is free here, man. It said the captives, exile, hasten that they may be loose, man. We will not be loosed until Yahweh shall come back, man. Until Yahweh, on his own time, send back Yahweh shall to redeem his elect, man. You are not free. Nobody is free, man. This devil talking about he ain't oppressed. Tazariah, I ain't oppressed. Well, you ain't an Israelite if you ain't oppressed. Because all 12 tribes of Israel are oppressed, man. This is Acts 16 and 25. Listen to this. And it reads, and at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and sang praise unto God, and the prisoners heard them. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundation of the prison were shaken, and immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's bands were loosed. You see this? Paul and Silas was in prison. The Lord said, if they persecuted me, they shall persecute you. We have been persecuted since Yahweh, man. This is the world is our captivity, but Babylon the Great is maximum security, man. You can't escape this. There's no way you can get out of this, man. Because the world is in the authority of who? Esau Edom, man. The Job 924s was given authority to do whatever they want to do with the earth, man. Destroy it in all wickedness. And the keepers of the prison awakened out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled. Hey, it was Yahweh Shema Shah. The point is, the prisons were set up, man, for so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. And I ain't just talking about the physical prisons. I'm talking about the world as a whole, man. The world is our prison, and Babylon the Great is maximum security, man. Of course, like it's saying in Egypt, right? Let's read this. This is Genesis 15 and 13. It reads, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. This is talking about Egypt, the real Egypt. But when you're reading in Deuteronomy 68, Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it's talking about he's going to send us into Egypt again. Meaning what? That same type of slavery, but in Babylon the Great, which is Egypt, and not in Revelation 11, Jay just going to have a little more better perks here, man. You're going to have flat screens and PlayStations, and you're going to be able to drive around in your little Chargers, Challengers, Camaros, Lexuses, and Benzes and get money and have a nice little broad on your arm and have you a nice little decent place, whether it's an apartment with a Camaro or you live in the suburbs with a Lexus. Same captivity, different punishments, man. But in Babylon the Great, you got a few more perks than we had in Egypt, man. A lot more perks than we had in Egypt. It's the same captivity, man. The same Egypt. Babylon the Great is spiritually Egypt, man. It's just a different time frame. The Lord made this to be our punishment. Why? This is Romans chapter 8. Let's read this. Romans 8:20. For the creature was not made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subjected the same in hope. The Lord set it up like this so you can know what righteousness and wickedness is, and you will appreciate, you really will appreciate the kingdom of heaven that much more, man. That's why Isaiah said, Isaiah 63:17, "O Yahweh, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways?" Because the Lord did it. So we'll learn, man. So we'll know. A righteous judge have to know wickedness and righteousness, man, to the fullest. This is let's get this. Hebrews 2:15. It reads, let's say, and this is Hebrews 2:15, and delivered them. Let's read 14. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all of their lifetime subject to bondage. All our lifetime we were subject to bondage, man. Why? Because the Lord made it so, man. So you will understand righteousness and wickedness. Because I said, Micah 7:9 said what? I have erred from thy ways. Hey, matter of fact, let's read that. This is Micah 7:9. It reads, I will bear the indignation of the Lord Yahweh, which is righteous anger, because I have sinned against him, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. So the Lord put us in this situation because we sinned against him, man. Okay? You got to understand. That's why we here. This Matthew 4:12. It reads, Now when Yahushua heard that John was cast in prison, and it said he departed into Galilee. You see that? Just to read the point. John the Baptist was in prison, man. And then what happened? When you go to Matthew 14, it tell you that Herod had a birthday, and his daughter, this girl that danced for him, he asked her what she wanted. And she didn't know, so she asked her mother, and she told the daughter to tell him that you want John the Baptist's head on the platter, on the charger, man. But John the Baptist was in prison as well, man. Yahushua was in prison. All 12 of the Israelites, all 12 of the disciples, the apostles, was tossed in prison, man. This is a common thing to man, as it say in 1 Corinthians 10:13, man. But Yahushua made it possible for us to get through all these things, man. It tells in Revelation 2. Let's read that. Revelation 2:10. Because this is common for the Israelites, man. For none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, which unknown number. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. These things gotta happen, man. Why? Because the Lord made the world as our prison, man. But Babylon the Great is our maximum security, man. And that's just the way it is, man. You see? But the Lord say, turn you to the strongholds, ye prisoners of hope, man. We are prisoners of hope, man. The Lord said in the curses, Deuteronomy 20:68, no man shall redeem you. It's not going to be a man in human flesh, in earthly physical form, that's going to save us out of this, man. It's going to be Yahushua. But Jake got Stockholm Syndrome, man. And that's the problem. Jake has Stockholm Syndrome. And they feel like this devil done let him loose, gave him clothes, gave him some, he got stamps so you can get food, gave you a little voucher. Oh, he ain't that bad. He okay. That's Stockholm Syndrome, man. That's Stockholm Syndrome, man. When you start to trust in your oppressor, now you feel like he okay. Not all of them is wicked. Well, the scriptures say in Isaiah 26:10, matter of fact, let's read that. Let's close with this. Isaiah 26:10 reads, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua. This devil cannot do right, man. Their lot, fashioned by Yahweh, was to be the wicked of the earth. Fashioned by Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, their lot was to be the wicked of the earth, man. Lord, when it's edifying, got to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders over all of Israel, really can accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the occupants pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the whole elect. And shalom to the Akwath who are listening and learning. There are few sisters who are listening and learning. The Lord was edifying. Till next time I say shalom, wa abab abal. The water for tuning in. May Yahweh Shema shall continue to bless you in your houses. Stay prayed up. Shalom.